You're listening to the Culips English podcast. To download the study guide for this episode, which includes the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations, real-world examples, and a quiz, visit our website, culips.com. CULIPS.com. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew, and you are listening to Culips. Greetings from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. That's right, I am back visiting my hometown. If you're a regular listener of Culips, you'll know that I live in South Korea. But I'm back in Canada, and I've been here for about a week and a half. And when I first came back, the weather was absolutely beautiful. Even though it's the middle of winter, the temperature was warm, the skies were blue and clear, and it was absolutely fantastic weather. So I was outside every day, hiking and jogging and enjoying the beautiful weather. But yesterday, a snowstorm hit, and we have quite a bit of snow on the ground now. So I'm trapped inside, and I'm actually staying with my brother at the moment. My brother's a very avid snowboarder, so he went up to the mountain today to go snowboarding. So I'm inside today avoiding the snow and the dreary cold weather. Today's episode is a Chatterbox episode, and I'm just going to ramble on a little bit today. I'm all by myself, but I hope that's okay. And as always, there's a study guide for this episode that is available to download on our website, culips.com. So if you would like to download the study guide, which includes the transcript, detailed vocabulary explanations and examples, a quiz, and also some discussion questions, then just visit culips.com to give it a download. The topic for today's episode is reverse culture shock. Reverse culture shock. Have you heard of this before? Culture shock occurs when you visit a country with a different culture than your own, and you find yourself panicked to be in this strange new environment. And reverse culture shock is actually the opposite of this, and it's what I'm experiencing right now. So most of my day-to-day life occurs in South Korea in a totally different culture than the one I grew up in. And since I've lived in Korea for so long, when I come back to Canada, some things about Canadian culture strike me as really strange or bizarre. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to highlight the top 3 things that have caused me to experience reverse culture shock since I've been back in Canada this week. The first thing that caused me to feel some reverse culture shock is actually the landscape and the environment of Canada itself. Canada is a huge country with a small population, and because of this, when I come back, it feels really, really empty. The first place I visited when I landed in Canada was Victoria, BC. Now, by Canadian standards, Victoria is a medium-sized city. I think the greater Victoria area has a population of around 300,000 people, which by Canadian standards is a medium to large sized city. Victoria is actually the place where I went to university and studied for 4 years. And I remember when I moved there thinking that Victoria was a pretty happening, busy place. Compared to my hometown of Kelowna, when I visited Victoria, I thought it was really exciting. There was lots of new things to do and see. But when I visited last week, I was shocked at how small and empty it felt. I guess now I'm used to big Asian cities where there's tons of people everywhere and businesses are open 24/7. In Victoria, this is totally not the case at all. I was walking outside at night at around 9 p.m., so it's not like it's a crazy late time or anything, and almost all of the stores were closed. Many of the restaurants were closed. I even was talking with an old buddy of mine, and he joked that you have to make sure that you get something to eat before 8 p.m. because after 8, everything's closed and you're out of luck. I met up with 3 of my really close old friends who live in Victoria, and we agreed to meet at a local craft brewery place to drink a beer together. We decided to meet at 8 p.m. and I arrived at the location at 7:55. I was the first one to arrive and I went in, sat down, and the waitress came over to me and she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but we're closing in 5 minutes." And I was really shocked. Oh my gosh, this is like a place where people meet to drink beer after work and they're already closing at 8 p.m. So I went outside, waited for my friends to arrive, and they suggested that we go to a pub around the corner. So we decided to do that. We walked around the corner to the pub, and it was also closed. This was a Tuesday night, but we were shocked. Oh my gosh, 8 p.m., and the pub is closed, and the local craft brewery place is closed. So there was another pub right across the street, and we walked over there. It was also closed. So the third location was also a bust, and we were out of luck there. We decided to walk into the more touristy area of town, and we found a pub there, but there were no seats. I guess since Victoria businesses on a Tuesday night like to close early, a lot of people who are looking for a drink decided to go to the same place, and we were out of luck there as well. So we tried 4 different places before we finally found a place to grab a beer. It took us many tries, 5 tries in fact, but this just reinforced the idea that Canada is smaller and sleepier than I remember it being. And now, since I'm back in Kelowna this week, like I mentioned at the top of the show, I've been out hiking and running, and it's really bizarre to me that I can go out for a run. I can run for about 10 kilometers, which, is almost an hour of being outside, and I will pass nobody on the streets. I won't run into anybody. Mind you, I'm not running downtown in the more busier parts of the city. I'm in the suburbs where people live. They don't really work or shop around here. But you would still expect to see some people out for a walk, but nobody. The other day when I was out running, it was really strange to me that I passed nobody while I was out. All right, so that is point number 1, that I found Canada to be sleepier, quieter, and emptier than I remember. The second thing that's caused me to feel some reverse culture shock is eating at restaurants. Restaurant culture between Asia and North America is really, really different. And it's difficult to adjust to coming back to Canada and eating at restaurants. And one of the main things that has struck me as being quite strange is how chatty and conversational the servers are. Something that's happened 3 times since I've been back to Canada is that the server will introduce themselves to me, shake my hand, and ask what my name is, and use my name the whole time that I'm eating there. So, for example, the server might say, "Oh, hi, my name is Brian. What's your name?" And then shake my hand and learn my name, and then use my name through the whole visit. So, "Hey, Andrew, how's your food today? Hey, Andrew, can I bring you some more water? Hey, Andrew, would you like dessert?" I don't remember this happening before, so I'm not sure if it's something new, a new trend in Canadian restaurant culture, but I found it really bizarre and a little bit intrusive, like they were being too friendly with me. Also, the questions that the servers have been asking have been quite personal, almost like they were talking to me like I was their friend. Questions that servers have asked me so far have been, "What are you going to do tonight? What did you do on the weekend? How has your evening been going so far?" These are quite personal questions, not just regular small talk about the weather or something. And this really shocked me. I was taken aback because in restaurants in Korea, I'm used to sitting down, ordering right away, having absolutely no small talk between the waiting staff and myself. But here it's like I'm visiting a friend's house. And so I was thinking, why are the servers doing this? Why are they being so outgoing, so friendly, and trying to make things so personal? And I think it's because of tipping. Okay, in Canada, we have a tipping culture, which means that you have to leave a tip minimum 15% for the wait staff. And I think what the servers are trying to do is, be really friendly, really outgoing with you so that they can perhaps get a higher tip. And to be honest with you, it worked. I did tip some of the servers more because I felt like they were really working for that tip. To be honest, I'm not a super outgoing person. I don't really like chatting with strangers too much, which is a little bit ironic since I'm talking to a lot of strangers right now, isn't it? But I felt like the wait staff in the restaurants that I visited were really working hard for their tip and trying to make me feel comfortable and being friendly. So their effort paid off and they got a little bit of a higher tip from me. So to sum up point number 2, restaurant culture and server small talk, this was something that caused me to feel reverse culture shock. The final thing that caused me to feel reverse culture shock is really weird, and I don't know why I felt this exactly, but it was seeing a lot of people that look like me. I guess in Korea, I really stand out. There's not a whole lot of foreigners there, especially outside of Seoul. There's not a whole lot of foreigners. And for me to be walking around in Canada and seeing other people that look like me, that have the same skin tone, and especially seeing men with beards really struck me as strange. Now, I'm constantly on and off. I have a beard sometimes, I don't have a beard sometimes, I go back and forth. But in Canada, in the winter, many men will have beards because it's a way to protect your face against the cold weather. And in Korea, I really don't see this very often. Korean guys don't have beards, and many Korean people have told me that they think beards actually look a little dirty and unkempt. And let me tell you, when I came back to Canada and I saw all of these guys with beards, I felt the same way. I thought they looked really dirty, which is so strange because I actually have a beard right now too. So I don't know where this is coming from. I felt like I was going a little bit crazy in my head. But it shocked me to see a bunch of people that looked like me. I guess I've just been an outsider for so long that coming back and not being an outsider anymore has really played with my head a little bit. So I found that bizarre. I think I've adjusted now. It was just the first initial 2 or 3 days caused me to have some strange thoughts about appearance, maybe I was just jet lagged or something. I don't know, but that was the third thing that caused me to feel some reverse culture shock. So just to wrap up this episode, to summarize, reverse culture shock is the idea that when you've been away living in a different culture and then you return to your home culture, you can notice some things that strike you as odd that you took for granted before, but then now cause you to feel strange because it just doesn't jive with the foreign culture that you've been immersed in for the last little while. And the three things that have caused me to feel reverse culture shock now that I'm back in Canada are the quiet and empty Canadian streets, the friendly and outgoing staff at restaurants, and also beards and not being an outsider in terms of my appearance. I would love to hear about your experience, and I'm curious if you've ever experienced reverse culture shock and what that looked like for you. I know a lot of our listeners have traveled extensively, and I can almost guarantee that some of you have some really good stories about reverse culture shock. So please send me an email and let me know your story. You can reach me at contact@culips.com. I would also really encourage you to follow us on social media so you can stay up to date with all the latest comings and goings here at Culips. If you search for Culips English Podcast on any of your favorite social media sites, you'll be guaranteed to find us. One more time, our website is culips.com. That is the place where you can find all of the rest of our Culips episodes. So if you're just dying to listen to some more Culips before our next episode is released, visit culips.com and you can listen to one of the over 500 episodes in our library. We will be back soon with another brand new Culips episode, so stay tuned for that, and I will talk to you then. Goodbye, everybody.